Hello and welcome to the Reigate College Further Maths video on matrices. So this is an introduction to matrices. So a matrix is an array of numbers. So a matrix could be something like 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 7, 9. Something like that is a matrix. And we need to be able to know various vocabulary to do with matrices. So each of these numbers within the matrix is called an element. And also we need to know the order of a matrix. Now the order of a matrix is the number of rows times the number of columns. So this matrix is a 3 by 3 matrix because it's got 3 rows and 3 columns. So if I wrote down this matrix, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This has 2 rows and 3 columns, so it is a 2 by 3 matrix. We need to be able to add and subtract matrices, and we need to be able to multiply them by a scalar. All of this is fairly straightforward, but it's important to understand that you can only add and subtract matrices if they have the same order. It's also important that you get used to this word commutative. That means that an operation A plus B is equal to B plus A. So let's have a look at some other important matrices. So we've got here the identity matrix. This has 1s on the leading diagonal. And we have a 0 matrix with just all zeros. Final thing to mention is transposition. If you have a matrix M, and matrices are usually given capital letters, then if we transpose it, the rows become the columns and the columns become the rows. So we'll do an example of that. It's fairly straightforward. So let's just have a little look at adding and subtracting. If you've got 2 matrices A and B and you want to add them, you simply add the corresponding elements. But the 2 matrices must have the same order, otherwise you'd have an element that won't add to another one. So if we look at A plus B, then we're going to get a 2 by 2 matrix, so it's going to be 3 plus 2 is 5, 1 plus minus 5 is minus 4, minus 4 plus 1, minus 3, 5 plus minus 1 is 4. So just be careful as you add them so that you don't make any silly mistakes. B, we're asked to add A plus C. Now if you look at A and C, they have different orders. If we tried to add them, we would run out of things to add here. So that is not possible to add, not possible. For question C, A minus B. So we just subtract the corresponding elements. So we're going to look at 3, take away 2 is 1, 1, take away minus 5. Just watch your negatives. That's going to be 6, minus 4, take away 1, minus 5, 5, take away minus 1 is 6. If we want to look at what 5 times the matrix A is, that's just going to be every element of this matrix multiplied by 5. So that's going to be 15, 5, minus 20, and 25. The last question here says to find the transpose of C. So let's just look at that. We've got the matrix C here, and that's got 3 rows and 2 columns. So when we transpose the matrix, C transpose is going to have 2 rows and 3 columns, but you just take each row and write it as a column. So the first row is 3, 2, we write it as a column. The next row is 1, 1, we write it as a column, and the final row is 0, 0, and we write that as a column. Put the brackets round. Brackets are important, very important with matrices, and then you've got your transpose. So this is the transpose of a matrix. We now move on to multiply matrices. So multiply matrices is a little bit more, there's a little bit more to it. couple of important things. Multiplication is not commutative. So once we've shown how to multiply two matrices, you will see that if you do A times B, it's often not the same as B times A, just occasionally it is. There's also the distributive law that works for matrices. So if you add together two matrices, B and C, and multiply them by A, then you can sort of think of that as multiplying out of brackets. You get A plus B plus A times B plus A times C. So this is sometimes used in questions. It's also true that if you do A multiplied by B times C, that's the same as A multiplied by B multiplied by C. So let's have a look at how we multiply two matrices. In order to multiply two matrices, you write them next to each other, and you put your finger on the first. We want the element that's going to go here, first of all. So this is in the first row and the first column. So we're going to go first row and we're going to go first column like that. So what we do is 3 times 2, which is 6, and then move across, plus 1 times 1, which is 1. So that entry there is going to be 7. We're going to do this entry here. This is the first row, the second column. So I'm going to do the first row and the second column. And I'm going to say 3 times minus 5 is minus 15, plus minus 1 is minus 16. This element here is the second row, beg your pardon, first column. So I'm looking at the second row here and the first column here. So I get minus 8 plus 5, minus 8 plus 5 is minus 3. I've then got 20, minus 5 is 15. With practice, you will get quite quick at being able to do this. So that was A times B. Now let's look at B times A. So we're going to multiply these two together. So we get 2 times 3, which is 6, plus 20, so that's 26. So already we can see that A times B is not going to be the same because these two matrices can't be the same now. Next space here, we get 2 minus 25 is minus 23. 3 plus 4 is 7. 1 minus 5 is minus 4. So that's multiplying those two together. Let's have a look at AC. So if I write out A and I write out C, let's see what happens. If I start off here, I've got 3 times 3, 1 times 1, but I run out here of a number to multiply this one. So you cannot multiply these two together. So in order to multiply matrices together, if I write out what this is a 2 by 2 matrix, and this is a 3 by 2 matrix, 3 rows, 2 columns. These two numbers here must be the same in order for you to multiply the two matrices together. So that's an important part of multiplying matrices. So these two numbers here must be the same. So this is not possible. Okay, and let's have a look at it if we work out C times A. So is this going to be possible? We've got 3 rows and 2 columns. So this is a 3 by 2 multiplied by a 2 by 2. So this is going to be possible. So let's see what we're going to get. The size of the matrix you will get when you multiply it is the outside two numbers. So this is a 3 by 2 multiplied by a 2 by 2. So we will get a 3 by 2 as the answer. So let's have a look at what we get. We get 9, take away 8, which is 1. We get 3, I'm just going back to check that one. 9, take away 8, yes, that's right, sorry. 3 plus 10 is 13. And here we get 3 minus 4 is minus 1. 1 plus 5 is 6. 0 and 0, and then another 0 and a 0. So that's our matrix there. The last thing to note is if you have got A squared, that means multiply the matrix A by the matrix A. Okay, so when we do that, we get 9 minus 4 is 5, 3 plus 5 is 8, minus 12, minus 20 is minus 32, and here we've got minus 4 plus 25 is 21. So that's the beginnings of the chapter on matrices, and you should now go away and practice this, particularly the multiplication, so that you can do that quickly and accurately.